guys, Steve here. Ponics. Today we're going to talk about
growing with fishes. Growing with fishes.
Welcome to episode 322 of the Growing with Fishes podcast. This week we have Chris Trump joining us all the way from Costa Rica.
Hey Steve, thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, sorry we had to reschedule last week's episode because I was traveling and now he's traveling, but we managed to squeeze in the episode, so it all worked out. We also have Wes Engine. Thanks for joining us, Wes.
Big up Ponics, big up Chris Trump, big up Infamous. Hope everybody's well. Big up everybody out in YouTube land, man. Hope you all living your best life. Hope you all smoking on something wonderful. Infamous, how you doing?
Great. I've seen that we got Chris Trump here today, so I took the opportunity to show my face, but I think I'll be fairly quiet on this episode, as I think this next level of knowledge bombs are about to be dropped. So I'm excited to sit here and sponge it all up, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope everyone's doing well.
Oh yeah. I hope everyone has a good and happy holiday as well coming up, whichever one it is that you celebrate. So thanks a lot, Chris, for joining us. Why don't you, I know you have a little bit more limited time today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's new with you and what you got going on in Costa Rica? Sounds like you got quite the awesome project there.
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome. Wes and Infamous, good to see you guys. Be on here. Feel free to jump in with a question. No pressure. Just a farmer.
Well,
like the
it's
rest
a pleasure
of y'all.
to finally talk to you. As I went through my Korean natural farming, obviously you pop up quite a lot. So to be able to sit and exchange words with you, it's an honor. So big thanks for Ponic for putting all this together and yourself for coming out.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about what you've been growing down there. I know you've been working on all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, it's a 3-month project to set them up with a process to use natural farming on their property perpetually. So to build a lab and train their staff. And so, yeah, started off by going into the jungle, getting a bunch of IMO 1 collections going right off while we built kind of the infrastructure we needed and found and sourced materials for large scale IMO 3 and 4. And yeah, it was just kind of a process. We put in a chicken, natural farming chicken coop, and train their staff on natural farming food making for the chickens, and did a whole startup process. That was fun. But it's about 30 acres planted in a food forest. Beautiful property in the mountains. I was there for the rainy season, so just endless storms, and I love storms. So watching the thunder and the lightning play was pretty exciting, but it created a ton of challenges with the work we were doing, trying to create dry space to make, we ended up making about 4,500 pounds of IMO4, and then we have about 1,000 pounds of IMO3 left over to be made later. And put in a platform for a lab. We hired a farm manager who's still down there. I just left. I'm going back to see my kids, hang out with them for the holidays. But I found a great Tico guy, native Costa Rican, and he is got to train for a month and a half with me, and we did all the things. And now it's his show, and he's got the layout for the lab, and shelves and table to put in, and he's gonna decide how he wants it laid out for his workflow. And so yeah, it was training somebody to, and making a lab with them, making a whole operation and training them how to use it. And now I'm in communication with them remotely, and this project has liquid IMO going out a few times a week and solid IMO being applied. Corn and squash is planted for the chickens' feed after what we fermented runs out in about 6 months. And so yeah, it was a blast and a bunch of challenges and a lot of hard work. But you know, farming work's good for the body and the soul. So yeah, I took advantage of that too.
Oh yeah, I know you had some close encounters with snakes and all kinds of fun stuff down there. I know we were
Yeah.
talking about that the other day.
I learned a bunch of respect for the jungle for sure.
What challenges have you had there in the tropics as compared to doing stuff in North America on the KNF side? I've noticed here in Thailand that we have like a lower percentage of getting, like we have a higher percentage of success with the IMO, but when we do have one that fails, the trichoderma like rips through the whole thing and it's like one giant green block, much more aggressive than I've seen in North America when it does get contaminated. And that was just one observation out here. What are some of the different challenges or differences that you've noticed in the tropics compared to North America?
Yeah, I mean, bugs and everything. We're trying to be. Yeah, I think the solid green trichoderma is probably just the timing in the tropics, because it's so warm at times and then damp. Boxes are ready in 2 days instead of 5, and that can fluctuate in a couple of weeks just depending on the little temperature shift. So stormy dark days are cooler, and then sun comes out and high humidity. So just IMO 1 and 2 is always a challenge. Changing environment. Costa Rica specifically, just acquisitions challenges, getting the tools and or materials needed for doing the process. That was challenging all by itself. We were up on the mountain in kind of the middle of nowhere, so even the close Feria, and I forgot the Spanish word. Anyway, the kitchen store has a hard time. They're gonna send it up on the truck. We got to get delivery, and so things just move slowly in some cases. But otherwise, I mean, tropics is my home turf. It's where I grew up in Hawaii. Learned how to do natural farming in the tropics, so it all feels really easy.
Awesome. Have you worked on anything that you haven't shown off yet that you feel like sharing? I know we've been experimenting here with putting the coconut water in the IMO for the rice when we cook that. And then we've also been doing a lot of different versions of the IPMO here, playing with that. And then I had one that I was actually kind of excited to talk to you about because I haven't had a chance to yet. So the other day, I just got a beta. In fact, I can show you said beta. There she is. Anyway, so I was feeding her ants the other day and she didn't eat 1 or 2 of the ants and it fell to the bottom. And I noticed within 24 hours, it was completely covered in a fungal growth, like aquatic fungi. And it made me wonder if I could use that as a new way to culture an IPMO type substance, right? Take some insects, put them in a local water source or a local water sample to culture that, insect fungi. And then I'm going to do some test trials and some mason, we have a bunch of mason jars or whatever. I can throw some bugs in there. And
that would be amazing.
Test it. So, but it got me thinking like a whole new avenue to collect something that would feed on them. You know what I mean?
Aquatic food web is you're just playing that across the line there.
Yeah. So that was
wonder if it would. Yeah, I wonder if it would work in like a soil-based system too.
Yeah, so we're gonna give it a test run and see if it works.
That's super cool.
We have some flowers on the front of the house that have mealybugs, so they're good experimental platforms to kill.
Yeah, well, and good learning from nature. I mean, just watching something happen is how nature teaches us so much of the time. It's awesome.
And you've taught me so much. I really can't thank you enough for all the knowledge. I mean, certainly when I was in Zim there, that gave us something to actually save the farm there with the grasshoppers and everything. And then we've used that now in a bunch of other places. And I can't thank you enough for your advice on that. What have you been doing, mostly just bulking out the large scale stuff, or have you been tinkering a little bit as well?
Um, I got to tinker, more tinkering with easy ways to make alcohol out of the FBJ leftovers, and so we made some really good banana flower vinegar. I'm sending some to my mom. She loves it for salad dressing, but kind of, yeah, just learning the further the art of fermentation, so that the bottom line can be affected, that there's there's a real income potential to the farm. And then just dialing in worm farming in Costa Rica there. We didn't find a wonderful source of humic acid in a liquid form. And so really getting that online as fast as I could for use with this liquid IMO program they have. So now they're getting really beautiful worm leachate, dark humic and fulvic acid. So they'll be able to continue to spray the farm with all the ingredients. And that's, I mean, I love worm farming, and having it in conjunction with the natural farming lab is, I think, one of the things that I most want to talk about coming up here. There's the life in the worm castings, to do that with liquid IMO, where those are hung at the same time. There's a IMO bag being hung in the water. There's a bag of worm castings. I think the interplay is so good and important, especially if you're putting all your FPJ leavings and your kind of ferments into the worm bin. Even IMO, specifically IMO, you have this kind of other kind of culture of microbes persisting in that container, and has the long-term or forever growth. You're never removing from it. You're just continuing to add microbes. And so I think that is a battery, storage battery for microbial life and beneficials. I think worm farming is it's something I did when we were doing it in Hawaii, doing the macadamia nuts. And it's just something I haven't been able to kind of pair up really easily. It's kind of been one or the other. But we were doing it some on the 1,000-acre farm in Iowa. Kyle Schnell out there had a Johnson stew, and I was like, yeah, put all the IMO. We had a failed IMO 1 or a couple failed IMO 1s. Those went in. Successful IMO 3 and 4, those went in, and FPJ materials. And so getting that life established, the worms work well with it. And now you have kind of two places that's coming from, again, with the whole goal is to foster maximum diversity. And that's kind of what I'm excited about, or to help kind of everybody get a glimpse of. So I filmed some videos, and I need to do some more.
Yeah, speaking of videos, not only do you have probably the best single source collection of all of the KNF inputs on your YouTube, you also have an incredible class that I was lucky enough to take on for your online class. Do you want to mention that as well? Because it's better than any of the other ones that are out there in terms of KNF content. You cover so many different aspects, and I know you've added a bunch to it since you first launched it. So why don't you tell people about that, because it really is a wonderful resource, especially with Christmas coming up.
Thanks, man. Yeah, no, it's continually being added to. The class is a forever membership, so anything that ever gets added, as it improves, you always have anything additional that goes in there. But yeah, some 40, 50 hours of glass footage and mobile camera footage from kind of teaching how to do this. And yeah, you get a certificate at the end showing that you completed that level of class. And I think it's a great way to learn. It really helps people kind of jump onto the more advanced stuff, and just hone their skills. I always prefer in-person classes, and I have 3 of those coming up in the spring. They are filling up. One's in Tennessee, one's in Cape Cod, and one that I will put on the website real soon is in May in Ireland. And that's going to be exciting. There's a lot of excitement around that. But yeah, those are all on my website, and website's getting an update as well. But you can find all the classes in the classes tab. Thanks for encouraging me to say that, Steve. And if you could just give me a minute, I think you should check out KNF Dairy, his website and all. He is who I'm going over to visit in Ireland, and that country is really blowing up in natural farming. So check that out for a second. I'm just going to transition here out of the car. So love you. Be right back.
Man, I learned so much from him. He started me on my KNF and Jadam, my Jadam track, all his videos and stuff, and I ended up taking Draco's course because I don't think Chris Trump had one available back then online when I started with KNF, but his videos were so good, just like him explaining how things were going to smell and what to expect, and just step by step and easy to understand, and like it saves you so much money in the long run, and like increases the quality of your product, as well as it connects you and your crop to nature as well. Like it's awesome. It's awesome. Oh, Potent, you're muted there, buddy.
Oh, that's good. I've been talking. Chris
Have you
Trump,
been talking since I stopped talking? Shit.
Yeah, I did. Chris Trump has a wonderful set of resources on his channel, for free on his YouTube. And then if you want to kind of learn a little bit more and some of the more advanced stuff and a little extra info, and a bunch of techniques that he doesn't have on here, be sure to check out his courses either in person or online. They really are a whole tier above everything else. I talk to Chris all the time, and he's always, coming up with new ideas and all kinds of cool stuff. So always exciting to learn from the master. I know when I met him out in, I think it was the Regen conference, was it in 2017 or 2018, whenever the first one was in Portland. That's when I first met him, and totally changed how I thought about aquaponics, totally changed how I thought about microbial communities and how to solve many of the different problems we were having with microbes and pathogens. There's a lot of stuff that I just don't see anymore. Like we don't see septoria, we don't see a lot of the molds and stuff. We don't see Pythium at all, right? Because the roots are healthy. The microbial biodiversity is there to where if there is a pathogen, it has a predator as well in that root system. Not to mention, Chris has worked with some advanced stuff treating, some of the mosaic viruses and nightshades, which, certainly has potential to treat other viruses and other plants. If that, if it works for that one, who's to say what other ones we can treat that way by having that additional microbe that triggers that plant's immune response to be able to fight it better, or something that's directly, preying on that bad microbe. So so much good knowledge. And definitely check out some of our previous episodes. I think this is the 5th or 6th time Chris has been on the show, maybe even more than that. So we do have at least 10 to 15 hours of content with Chris in the past that you can check out as well. He's currently getting at the airport, and once he gets through security and stuff there, he'll be back with us. What's up with you, Kanatai? I wanted to say hi. Sorry I didn't have a chance to introduce you there.
It's all good. Just hanging, man. Getting ready to start those autos and some other things here, and stoked on some of the stuff I'm seeing out here, which is the mutant and the Thai hybrid shit stuff we're running. She's running a bunch of stuff, man. Yeah,
Some of the
Speaking
freak
of
show
mutants,
crosses are fucking raging
see-
bigger.
yeah, dude, right?
I seen on Shopee last night, dude. There's a guy here selling all mutant clones, and he's got the berry free clones for sale.
Oh, really? Dude, that
Yeah,
if
he's
this
got
is-
Freak Show, Super Freak, ABC, Doc, fucking Berry Freak, all for sale on Shopee, like 400, 450 baht a clone.
Yeah, I dig that fucking berry freak, man. That's what got me inspired to get into it. That was
What's
really
the-
cool.
That's something I don't know. What's the average price for a clone right now for like an average clone?
450, 500.
Are you
Yeah.
fucking serious?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Fuck growing
serious.
flower. Fuck it.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying, dude? For real. And dude, if they're big, hey, that's a cut. That's a cut. If you got like teens and shit, that's a whole different. That's not even the same category.
Yeah, but when I
Oh, yeah.
normally sell to like over 100, I drop it to like 300, 350.
We're about to drop about 1,500 plants into that greenhouse bay. They're just finishing chopping down the last of the plants and cleaning it out to run the UV lights tonight to nuke everything in there just to be on the safe side. And then we'll spray it down again, let it sit for a day with the sunshade open to cook off, and then we'll be good to go.
Right on.
I like to do like a 2-day reset between sprays, UV, and just sun. Between that, there's nothing that really makes it. All right. What else is new with your garden there, Infamous? I know you've been working on all kinds of stuff while we're waiting. on Chris.
Nothing, just been trimming and fucking smoking good shit. So this is some of that juicy pussy. Coal fire. I shouldn't even be smoking on it yet. It's like barely dry, but it's fucking just stinks and it's dank. Got a whole bunch of other shit fucking almost ready to smoke. Wi-Fi OG, fucking Oreo gushers, fucking the list goes on. The list goes on.
Awesome.
Oh, that group you entered me into, we had a bunch of drama with them yesterday. That was quite funny. So that
cool.
Discord group, you entered me in that like Thailand one or whatever.
Oh, the Thailand. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, dude, I was like, I had all those Black America seeds. So I was like, all right, free seeds for everyone on the group. I don't care. Just fucking send me money for shipping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they fucking banned me from the group. And
That's
then like
crazy.
and then the true crime Thailand guy was like, came to my rescue. He's like, fuck, that's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. And anyway, they ended up taking me back and giving me a whole bunch more privileges and shit, but it was funny. I was like, what, dude?
Chris, I know you had been working on treating a couple of different plant diseases with IMO. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? I know you had some success with a couple of different things.
Yeah, I have definitely played with I don't know. I think across the board, if once you get established IMO, I'm just seeing disease isn't really our thing. I have found that there's certain diseases that really need the liquid IMO application. So some diseases you're sorted through that soil application. Hold on just a sec. I'll keep talking, but some are sorted through that soil application. Well, others really need the leaves affected, like the bunchy top virus in bananas. They really need that foliar application of microbes for whatever reason, however that pathogen is affecting them. It needs to be introduced to the leaves to outcompete it.
That's awesome.
And then, yeah, sorry, guys.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, and then the big one is that I dealt with in Thailand. That's an ongoing attempt is leafcutter ants. It's a serious thing there. These communities of ants are massive. I mean, their houses are, as big as like bigger than one of those kiddie pools, and deep underground. And they just march along the farm, slicing up leaves, and they'll completely defoliate a tree in a day if they choose it as the tree they want to eat that day. They're looking for certain sugars, and then they take it back to their nest and they ferment it in the ground. They mix it all together, these pieces, and they make like a fermented cake. It's like chunks of bits that they provide, and then chunks of plant material, and they make like an edible compost. Like ant kimchi. So learning about them and learning about how they might be affected by fungi, how they have potentially fungi resistant exudate that they put around their ant farm, their ant home, and then exploring what could kill them. Not to annihilate them from the jungle. I think they're an important part, but really to suppress them on the farm. And so right now our backup is JWA. We're going to use soap and potentially sulfur eventually if JWA doesn't work, but JWA tends to be pretty effective for suppressing things that just need a little bit of nudging to go find something else. There's a huge jungle nearby, but hopefully the IMO is going to be enough to suppress these ants on this tree farm. So we're watching that unfold now in the next couple months. We made it using some ant hill, some of their home, as well as several types of ants getting into the IMO and getting cooked. So we'll see. We did not do the IMO one with ant frass. It wasn't something I could figure out well in Costa Rica, but we can circle back to that definitely in the next 6 months.
We've had good luck attracting the ants here with sugar water with Dawn soap on top. It breaks the surface tension and they just drown. That's been a good way to collect a bunch of them. Obviously, you got to rinse the soap back off, but
okay, yeah.
a way to trap them.
Have you gotten some good blooms on ants, or have you seen it
We haven't
specifically?
I haven't gotten that far yet. We were mainly trying to trap them to keep them out of the greenhouse because we have these giant red ants and they don't mess with the plants, but they bite and sting. Like they're just a pain in the ass to deal with. So it's like I don't hate that they're in there, but I need to keep them at a level that's not painful to work with.
Yeah, totally. They have black ants like that in Costa Rica. It was my least favorite insect while I was there. Least favorite creature. They'd sting you in the ankles anytime you went outside without shoes on, and I did not love them. But there's this little black bee, this stingless black honeybee. So pretty, and they're gentle. They're super curious. They're always around in the morning. That was my favorite creature in Costa Rica.
Any beetles?
Both killable.
Any beetles or anything else crazy that you had, or any funky insects that you were just like, man, I don't know how the fuck this is, or how to deal with this?
No, I mean the rest is really it's within the realm of normal things I've dealt with that healthy plants basically have their own resistance to. But the leaf cutters are that one, kind of curveball that we're got to figure out. And everybody keeps telling me, if you find something that works for the leaf cutters that's organic, you're a millionaire. I'm like, well, I probably get the tough away. So I don't know. We'll see. We're working on it though. Eber, who's down there, is doing a great job, and so yeah, I'll keep you posted on that.
It made me wonder if you wouldn't have a better collection by, obviously this would be horrible to do, preface it with that, but if you dug the nest up and then tried maybe to raise it off of the young, because the young would have a different immune response and a different response to fungi, they wouldn't have as much resistances as the adults would with that exudate.
What I did is I found an ant nest, and I got the tractor and I took 2 scoops out of the center of the nest, and we'd shoveled another nest down. So I just figured I'd throw the whole thing in there, and if I got the fungi to cook and bloom, whatever would consume them could be a pathogen. So it was a little rough and dirty, but first time I figured out IPMO was rough and dirty. So I figure we'll see what we come up with here. What I want to go back and see when I go back in February is I want to go see some ants under the trees with fungi all over them, and then we'll start looking in on that, trying to figure out exactly what that is.
Oh yeah, there's tons of different cordyceps and stuff that go after the ants down there. It's just a matter of hunting them down for sure.
Yeah, they have the zombie fungus in Costa Rica.
Oh yeah, yep, that's the cordyceps.
Okay.
Good stuff. Good for ant. They make a lot of anti-cancer compounds out of many of the different species of that as well. In fact, the second most manufactured cancer drug is derived from that.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I know we've had good luck with boric acid and metarhizium against ants, but I don't know if either of those are either available or legal there.
So yeah, I'm curious. I know that the ants, if they're fermenting, they're going to want some of the sugars in the leaves, and I don't know how they select for their leaves, but I'm hoping that if these plants are healthy enough that they're not expressing as much sugar in their leaves and they're expressing more of these complete proteins and fats, that it won't be the ideal food source for these ants. I think they want those baby sugar leaves, and so maybe they'll just go for the new growth then, but as it is, they'll take everything from a tree. And so I think it's probably something the tree is expressing at that time, that they'll sniff it out. And so I'm hoping that a healthy orchard will be a resistant orchard, but we'll have to see.
Oh, that's interesting. That's certainly a peculiar issue that thankfully don't have to deal with here in Thailand that I know of.
Yeah, so first step is to get good IMO down and to be treating the trees, get everything nice, lush, green, and healthy. And then if we're still having ant problems, we'll have an interim step of the JWA, and we might go for more of a proper IPMO with IMO1 filled with ant carapace.
I always love the smell of the IPMO when you brew a big batch. It smells like winter fresh, winter green smell to it. It has a really, really peculiar smell to it compared to the other inputs for IMO. And it's especially with it being December, it smells kind of festive.
There you go, in Thailand, festive. Kind of weird being in the tropics in the winter. There's no real sign that it's Christmas time or holidays in general. Being in Boise in Idaho, it's full on winter. You get the snow on Christmas Day.
Oh yeah. Is there any tips for people, or can they just not? Because I get this question sometimes about collecting IMO when it's cooler outside. Is it possible, or is it just something that you kind of have to be 50 or 60 degrees Fahrenheit for it to really work well?
No, absolutely you can. But what you have to do is you have to find the leaf litter out. I filmed a video for this and just never finished publishing it. So that's kind of the story of things lately, but sorry for that. But I'll tell you right now, you go out into the forest and you find that leaf litter. So if it's snow on the ground, get warm and ready for some, deep forest in the winter excavating, where you dig down and find that leaf litter, and you can find mycelium. Bring that back, a box of it, and get it in the garage, maybe in a cardboard box, and then put your IMO1 collection with your rice in there with it. So you have, and then open top on the box, you want airflow. So we had an indoor operation in Colorado. We did this in the winter with some success, where we brought the material down and we got it to bloom indoors, in controlled temperatures. So you still introduce microbes to the box, with a paper towel and all that. Again, we only want the microbes to grow in there. We don't want any plant material. So you don't want to just stick that stuff in there. That's how we create that preserved effect in IMO2, is by not having any plant material in there, not having the debris. Just the microbes, they will all go dormant and you'll have kind of a dormant material. But if you have plant material in there, the center of the plant material stays kind of active, untouched by sugar. Bacteria can go crazy with it and kind of make your IMO2 alcohol.
Nice. Any other things with rice? I know, is there any difference if you're using rice like jasmine rice or white rice or brown rice or wild green rice? That's another question I'll get quite a bit.
Yeah, I've really found, I've tried a bunch of different rices. I've really found that you get the best success, most consistent success with white rice, and you know, these Asian varieties, short grain white rice is what works best.
What about sticky rice? Just curious.
So sticky rice is generally a process where you're adding a little bit of vinegar in the cooking process, and that's just not necessary. You can add a touch of vinegar in FPJ. I think you're getting a similar effect, Steve, as you trial with the coconut water, is you're adding just a little bit of nutrient to that rice. But yeah, sticky rice can work. The thing is with sticky rice is it's not al dente cooked, and so there's not airspace between the grains, and we really want that airspace for the fungi and aerobic loving organisms to move into. So sticky rice being kind of all glommed together is not ideal either.
Right. Yeah, just get a surface thing and that's it. I get it.
Yeah, the center will go gooey and it'll be all bacteria in there.
Yeah, 100, right on, man.
And when you crack it open, you know, it smells good or it doesn't. That's a good way to tell you got your cakes.
Should smell kind of like the forest floor. Should smell kind of earthy. Steve, how are you liking playing with natural farming in a tropical environment? Kind of different, huh?
Oh yeah. Well, I guess the biggest lesson to learn, we did a bunch of wood, spent like a day building a bunch of wooden boxes and all this stuff. And then we set them out there, and we didn't fail, but we certainly didn't have the rate that I was wanting for success on all those boxes. So one of the workers was like, hey, we can get these baskets for 20 baht. Like, let's just get a bunch of these and try it. And I was like, all right. And we're not switching again. We're going back. We're staying with the baskets. That works 10 times better. The other thing, I guess, was the bamboo.
Lots of airflow.
Yep. The bamboo thickets are definitely like the place to do that. It seems to take, you know, a day or two faster with the bamboo areas than the non-bamboo areas.
Yeah, just you just want to use other areas too, because in the bamboo areas you're going to get some very specific microbes. You'll get a majority of Bacillus subtilis, which will bloom nice and white. It's beautiful. It's super important for growing and for your crop. Cannabis, it's wonderful for it. However, it is kind of limited diversity, if you will. It ends up kind of taking over that space. Again, super positive. You want those guys in your space. However, that is going to be the majority of what you get in those bamboo. Same thing with rice straw, what's found in rice straw and in like regular straw that we grow in Midwest. I have to go through security, Steve. So if you want to talk about the other cool things you got to talk about, I'll come back to you in about 10 minutes.
Okay, sounds good. Be safe.
Okay, bye.
You muted yourself, Bowden.
Nah, sorry. I'm still feeling under the weather as I was yesterday, but not quite as sick as I was yesterday. But I definitely got a bit of a convention cold, a bit of a cough. Definitely feel like I smoked like a brick of hash yesterday. My lungs feel really fried, but I'm definitely feeling a lot better than I did yesterday. I just pounded a bunch of coconut water and slept and helped a lot. What's new with your garden, Wes?
Oh, just growing. Let's see. I got my island sweet skunk is coming along beautifully. I got one of them that just has amazing structure, just a stalk on it like you wouldn't believe, coming up real nice. I got a bunch of clones. I just flipped them to solo cups. I got to take a bunch of clones off those island sweet skunks, and then they're moving straight into the flower room. I got about 8 plants in the flower room, getting about a week or 2 away from coming down. I'm just waiting to see them whiten up, and then crystals just get nice and white and ripen up a little bit more. In there, I got Grandpa's stash, jaw fodder, and peanut butter cookies. The peanut butter cookies, unfortunately, doesn't smell anything like peanut butter or cookies, but it's very, very almost looks like that. Yeah. But it smells like fruit, blueberry, candy, like a candy berries, like with a lemonade kind of in the back. It's beautiful, but yeah, nothing like advertised. Just a lot more of the same. I got to pop some seeds. I don't know what I'm going to pop. I'm still pushing back projects that I need to do, where I'm gonna re-up some seeds and just keep things fresh, but I keep putting it off. I'm just too lazy, but I need to. But I also try to do mine so I do my pollinations right at as spring comes and I can get the plants outside, because once they've been pollinated, I don't bother keeping them. I don't worry about keeping them under 12 or whatever. I'll throw them back outside, harden them off for a week and put them outside and finish them for free, and then put fucking smoke in my rooms indoors, right? So little trick you can get away with doing. Once it's pollinated, they'll keep making the seeds. So you muted it, but that's about where I'm at.
We also have recreational rosin Dave snuck in here. Sorry about, I didn't see that.
That's dope, man. Yeah, I like throwing them outside, dude. I do the same. I do boost them, and as soon as I'm ready to do get to the size, or after you knock it or whatever you're doing, yeah, most definitely chuck it outside, because then you get I think it makes better. I don't know.
Bigger, better seeds as well.
Yeah. I think I just never made a seed under light, so I can't say, because I just don't want to do it.
I think
because
generally they're a little bigger.
Yeah, and I haven't had to yet, so I'm not gonna until like I'm have to or something. Unless I totally piss rain or something over here gnarly and I can't.
But this is my favorite time of year to grow, actually, though. One of my favorite things to do this time of year is keep my nighttime temperature about 3 to 5 degrees hotter than my daytime temperature. And it's really easy to regulate because it's winter, right? And what that does is that makes your buds like tighten up, like you were using packs of butanol or whatever from back in the day. You get you that, like, it really just, your buds like just lock down and get so strong that way. But it's nice to be able to pull that off here in the winter. I might like never get as good buds in the summer, but
it's funny, dude. It's cold out. It's freezing yesterday here. I mean, not freezing, but cold, dude. Like, I rode back after the sun went down last night from my buddies up here checking out his stuff, and That was actually like cold, man. I had a hoodie on and like a motorcycle jersey and a hoodie on, and still like it's cold, bro. I mean, it's mid 50s, I guess, dude, and that's cold as hell to me now. I mean, I barely get. I sometimes I get chilled in the Caribbean when I was in St. Croix. You get out of the ocean and like get in the vehicle with wet shorts still, and you got the breeze going through the Jeep. Yeah, you get goosebumps and stuff.
Well, we
But
have
not like
we guess we have two resident Caribbean fuckheads. We have and if you don't get that joke, you will later. Canada Thai Seeds and West Engine. So
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man.
I love the Caribbean, man. That was an awesome spot in
And
time
Wes
there.
is also Canadian too, so he feels like two boxes. He gets to be like
Yeah,
the Sean Paul.
pretty much.
Mm.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the West Indian fuckhead, Sean Paul.
I miss the food too so much.
Oh, the
I mean,
food. The food is what I miss the most. Yeah,
me
yeah.
too. It's a toss up. The ocean too. See, I've never been in I went to St. John, the little island there, and Trunk Bay or whatever it's meant. Some of the snorkeling, I couldn't even. It was like going underwater to like Avatar, but not, you know what I'm saying? Like that was a whole.
Yeah, man.
Dude, it was nuts. Dude, I was like, "What? Are you serious?" But yeah, the Caribbean's amazing, and the people, dude. I got like family there now. I made family there, so you know.
Oh,
Did
yeah,
you
man,
guys
but-
see that photo I posted of those plants for sale in front of the market?
No, I miss
So
those.
yesterday I go to the market and this guy's got two pickup trucks of Thai plants of all different sizes, from solo pups to like 10-gallon monsters, right? The guy doesn't know males from females, okay? So half the plants in the trucks are males, dude. This guy is literally driving around Buriram with trucks full of males, just like pollinating the whole city.
Sorry, I just had to unmute myself for the scream you guys are about to hear. Holy shit!
that's
Wow.
completely insane.
That's just funny though. That's funny.
Did you slash his tires? Oh, nowhere, buddy.
My
All
God.
I said
dude.
to him was like, look at the females you got. I said, they're actually like worth something, but
That's
they're
right.
not worth something when they're full of seeds. And you can't be ruining everyone's garden. I tried to tell him, and I don't really think he gave a shit, to be honest. I think he just wanted to sell the plants, you know. But they were full blown, nut sacked out, lost in
Driving all over
pollen, like
the neighborhood.
it was crazy.
That's amazing. There's always something
Nightmares
crazy.
come
That
true.
was good.
Did you guys have any questions for Chris? I figured I'd let you guys ask him a couple questions if you want.
Definitely. Does he have some remedies for septoria that he could go over that might be different than what you offered us? Any type of something specific for the tropics for the bud rot and stuff in the rainier seasons? So probably just start with those two before I really start rambling them off.
Maybe Chris didn't hear you there.
I heard you. One more minute, maybe 30 seconds.
Oh, no worries, no worries. What I'm trying to think. We have quite a
Septoria
few.
and butt rot. So those are my concerns right now. Do you have anything that you would suggest that we do in this very hot tropical environment where we're getting big swings right now too in the temperature from night and day?
I mean, the environment is probably your leading thing. I think treating the plants from a young age with a liquid IMO so that they have their own biome in their phyllosphere up in the upper canopy and their leaves and branches. But then the environment is what you have to rely on here. As far as I know, that's it's a fermentation in the center of the flower, and that's yeah. I don't think I have anything else for you. Sorry. Hello. But the treatment while they're young, completely covering that's really why too we want that collection to be out in nature under the branches and canopy of the indigenous trees there, because that's the whole community of microbes we're getting in that box, and really we need those kind of upper canopy microbes to be part of our collection. So when we spray it on, the soil dwelling microbes aren't going to do anything on the surface of these plants. There's not a whole lot, but the microbes that came falling off the leaves of the trees, those are going to be those microbes have the potential to actually protect your plant from disease, and really the maybe a third of the battle for what you're talking about, with like the other 2/3. If you can keep good airflow, in tropics, things stay nice and fluffy and fresh. Sorry it's so noisy, guys.
No, you're fine. I was just gonna comment. I'm jealous of how easy of a time you have going through airport security compared to me with the dreadlocks. That would have been at least 10 minutes longer if it were me.
Yeah, man, step right this way. It's Mr. Steve Dredd. No, it's not random search, random.
Yeah. So, but I'll let you go. I know you're about to take off. So, but I appreciate you coming on. Let me throw your website up here if you guys want to check out his content. You can find his website at christrump.com. You want to take either one of his in-person classes or his online class, definitely sign up. Like you said, he's got 3 classes coming up, 2 in the US and 1 in Ireland. So really excited about that. And his online courses, he's got quite a bit of content now. Definitely check that out. Yeah, Grass Valley, Ireland, Mansarville, Cape Cod, and Franklin. So super excited about that. Be sure to check that out. And his YouTube channel, if you haven't already, shoot, come on. Oh, there we go. His YouTube channel, great resource. If you haven't seen it already, be sure to check it out. Probably the best on the web for Canada.
Comment on there and encourage me. I got a bunch of content I need to put out there. I got 2.5 weeks with my kids, and if I can occupy them in the evenings, I can get a bunch more edited. So I'm taking my work with me for the holidays, and would love to put some more videos on there. Encourage me or send happy thoughts. That's going to be a lot of work. I got hours and hours to work through. So.
And also check out the other work he's doing with Korean Natural Farming Dairy in Ireland. They've got a bunch of cool content that they've put out as well, and really been killing it out there. So thanks a lot for joining us, Chris, and always enjoy having you on.
Yeah, Steve, you should actually talk story with Tom Stack from KNF Dairy one of these days. I think he would be a very fun, entertaining guest, and super knowledgeable on this craft.
Oh, that'd be great. We'd love to.
I'll put you in contact.
For sure.
See you, man.
Thanks a lot. Have a safe flight.
See you guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Later, Chris.
Travel safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Always fun to. I think he's the first person we've had that was streamed from a plane. So first today.
That is a first. That is definitely a first.
We'll do a proper intro here for Recreational Dave. Thanks for joining us.
Recreational Dave.
Recreational Rosin Dave. Sorry. Recreational Dave.
Oh, good, guys. It's great to be here.
I like recreational Dave. It's a great name.
Well, it's actually DEA Dave, because he looks just like an agent.
When I got a haircut, now I look like a freaking 70s porn star.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah. That's a great show with Chris. He's very knowledgeable. Like he helped actually help me get into the natural farming and learned a lot from his videos.
Yeah, man.
well, it's funny because I was like getting into organic, and then recreational rosin took my like organics to the next level. He's the one who got me into compost teas and all that jazz. And then after spending a season with him, I looked up lots of Chris Trump videos, trying to go to where Dave learned his shit. You know what I mean? Jadam and that type of things, KNF. So yeah, he's definitely the source of a lot of material and a hub of knowledge, that's for sure.
Not only that, but Chris has kind of taken what Master Cho put out and kind of perfected it a little bit. You know, now that we have microscopes and testing and the ability to quantify a lot of this more, you can kind of refine it a little bit and make it a little bit better. Like his liquid IMO recipe is a bit different than most of the others that teach, but it works better, you know? So that was a great tip you were saying about, you know, put one bag of IMO and then another bag of fresh worm compost for the microbes. Like it's a great idea. It's something that I will definitely be using here in the future.
And as for like a liquid compost.
Yeah, so we take the rice, we cook it down and put it out for collection, and then we collect the fungi on it, or we add the crickets and do it that way, you know, the other method with IPMO. And then take that and weigh it, and then cut it 50% with sugar, mix it all together, and then put a thin layer of sugar on top so that when it raises, it melts back down kind of to lock out the oxygen, because the point of the sugar is to lock the oxygen out. I know a lot of people are anti-sugar, but that's kind of crazy, considering that it shelf stabilizes this thing for 3 years, and I can kind of pull those microbes off the shelf and wake them up whenever I want to. It makes it too convenient. And not only that, but it's not expensive to have sugar around.
No.
What we've noticed with the IPMO, we have the IPMO outside, right? So the first day when we put it out, the ants found it and they were picking off the edge. After that, I'm not seeing a single ant on there because they got wiped out by the microbes. So that was something I thought was really peculiar. You know, we don't have any of those same problems that a lot of people attribute to putting sugar inputs in our garden. I don't see them. You know, we have a couple of those red ants that are clearly hunting. You know what I mean? They're coming into the greenhouse somehow, but they're not. You know, they're not damaging the plants, so I'm not worried.
You know, those red ants out here, I actually saw. I was looking up solutions to control them in Thailand. They're like, "Oh, control them? Like mind control them?" No, like so these farmers on the mango trees will stream line into their trees that the red ants use as highways to help like fend off other bugs and critters, and so they'll actually use the red ant as a defender. And there's some blossoms that the ants will actually carve out and live inside of the tree, and another tree out here. So like the red ants definitely are hunters, and they might not mess with your plants, but like you said, they definitely bite. But what's good is they can keep the black ants at bay. And if you've been bit by a black ant out here, you'll know that's way worse than a red ant. With the black ants sting.
I've been totally unafraid of the black ants because in North America, the black ones are harmless, or you know, maybe they can bite you, but they don't sting. But that's good to know.
Yeah, the black ones, they're mean. That sting stings for a minute afterwards, like you've been hit with a hot needle.
Yeah, but that's certain ones, because some of them don't do it. Some of the black ones don't do nothing.
Sure.
But then but there are black ones here that they hurt worse than the red ones.
Yeah,
In
they're
Antigua,
long bodied.
in Antigua, we got little red ones, and they're tiny. They're like microscopic. You can barely see them. But when those get on you, they bite you so hard.
That's what we get.
Our black and our brown ones bite too, and they're enough to you're running and dashing them off your foot, but like they don't like. But our little red ones just
That's what we got. We got those on the
day, man.
bro.
Swell up like everything. Yeah, man.
On the beach, dude, they got those. You'll be standing there, all of a sudden you realize you're on a hole, one of those, dude, and it'll light you up like you wouldn't believe. You have to like run in the ocean to get them off. That's like literally the first thing you do. Cell phone flying out, everything out of your pockets to get in the water to get those ants off you. It's legit. Those things are bad. And they leave like zits. They leave like I don't know about you, but I used to get like look like a whitehead after each bite. Like they're gnarly. They had some sort of venom or something in their bite. Actually the ones here will do it. Some of them, if you get a good one, they'll leave a mark.
Well, that's another thing too. You know, all around our greenhouses is just gravel, right? So there's no plants for them to live on. There's no water sources. You know, they can make it into the greenhouse and find a little water and whatever else. But you know, when we water or from the plant material, but they got to cross a dead zone. And that also keeps, you know, a lot of the snakes out and the other stuff, because when they cross it, and they're basically bird food. So they don't want to risk, you know, crossing a big open area. They don't like that, right? It's dangerous for them. But they have found snakes in there before, which I'm waiting to get bit on the toe. Walking through the pallets one day. That's gonna happen eventually.
Yeah, I feel you. I've seen enough of them. I love snakes, dude, but coming here, I think way different than I used to think back in the States, because we had I knew which ones were bad over there. There's not that many to know that can hurt you. And over here, dude, there's way too many that can mess you up. Way too many. There's just too many. Almost I think it's 70% or something, right? Or something. I think there's more that can hurt you.
It's 60-70% of the ones here are venomous, which is
that's really too much for me, dude. It's almost must be Australian shit, but not as bad. But almost.
Yep. No, I mean there was a dead Cape Cobra around the corner by 7-Eleven the other day. So, or monocle cobra, sorry, not Cape.
Monocle.
Monocle.
You took a picture of that, or no?
No, that was somebody else took a picture of one the other day and sent it in chat.
Yeah, I seen a king pop its head out, not even an eighth of a mile from right here. There's another little village that has their store has stuff our store don't have here at our house. We have a little store here at my mother-in-law's house next door. But anyway, so I go over there a lot. Yeah, dude, it popped its head out, and it got out about 6 feet of it, but it wasn't even all the way out the rice field yet. It was just got halfway onto the road, and it heard the motor, it felt they felt the motor coming, and that ducked back. But that was a big king, is what it was. Because I know the color. You know the color, the stripe and the gold and the
the young ones are all striped up, and then the adults are just fucking huge.
Darker. Yeah, they're bad looking. Hey, check this out. I want to say this real quick. It's not a 3 thing, but it start off at 2 at the bottom, but then it goes into 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're all together. You see that? The distance between those?
Yeah.
You see that? A 4, but then it goes up to a 3. Look, then the next one is a man. You can't get a good angle. The next one's a 3. The 1, 2, and 3 right here. See, there's a 3, but then it goes up to a 2, and it's got the biggest gap with nothing on this side, but just a 2, and then it goes up to a 1. The next one's a 1 there, and then it goes to a 3, then another 3.
That's strange.
Oh shit! I just kinked it. Anyways, and listen, it doesn't get any better, bro. It towards the top, it gets I'm gonna get a transplant, but it's a bomb show is what it is. And it's even got I noticed that it's even got some fucked up whipped leaves that are all kind of whipped. This one's got a tweak in it. That's the freak show does that. Does anything freak related, not anything, but most stuff has got some weird stuff like that. But this one here, I've never seen that. Like a 2, 4, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 1, 2, 1 is what I can see.
Nice. That's super trippy. I haven't seen that one before.
Defect, dude.
I had a weird one. Let me throw this up on the screen just because this was bizarre.
I mean, the leaves aren't really mutated that much, and I mean, it looks pretty normal other than that. But the leaf spacing is completely told. But I've never had that.
You can see
I've
this.
had like a lat section. What? Yeah, I was checking
That's
that on
cool.
the IG. Yeah, I was deeping on the IG.
Yeah, really strange. I don't know what this is, but
I still stand by. I think it's some kind of short circuit in its what it thinks it is. It's supposed to be leaf, but it thinks it's bud.
yeah, it's like the leaf converted to bud tissue and then tried to flower because it's covered
Yeah.
in trichomes. When I show you this under the microscope, in a second, you can kind of see it in that picture. It's a really bizarre mutation in the leaf structure. Where is it? There we go. You can see it's like a forest of trichomes. It's really bizarre. I've just never seen this before. Really strange. There we go. You can see it's like just one giant trichome base or something. It's fucking bizarre.
Nuts. That's a trip,
Right? And it was only on one leaf on one of the Thai plants, and that was it.
Man, some of these,
Very cool.
I believe it's the Siam syrup out there. She has the Siam OG Siam syrup, and I think a couple of the race freaks. What else? And a bunch of the Freakazoid Freaky Fuel. That's what's going on. But oh yeah, and some of the Freaky Bastard. I started a little fleet of those, but she took all that over. But now that they're like 3 feet, 4 feet tall.
I just noticed this. Look to the
Yeah, that one's got
are not in the right place. They're before the top of the trichome. That's fucking weird. I didn't
Or is that
notice
another one behind it you're seeing there?
No, because look, this one has it too.
Yeah, that one does. Yeah, you're right.
But if you look
Weird.
at, they all have it. Well, they're not
Weird.
developing right.
Yeah, that is amazing. That's actually, I've never seen nothing like that.
I threw it in the freezer in case I need to sequence it or something later.
Wow. Yeah. That's a trip.
And then if you guys haven't checked it out as well, I did a side-by-side video for how to tell mosaic virus from not mosaic virus. This is another weird mutant that I trashed today. This is that one that has the leaf coming out of the stem.
Oh yeah.
But this leaf here is like 2.5 feet wide. It's fucking huge. But I don't know what the hell went wrong with this plant, but it is not happy.
Oh shit.
I thought that was just strange. I've never seen that before.
No, that is weird. That's different.
So
Wow.
it's always fun when you pop, just 1,000 seeds or 2,000 seeds. You get some
You're
new
gonna
ones.
have those different ones. Fuck, you can find a different one like that in a 10-pack. Not to mention, you start looking at groups at large.
Oh yeah, can't all be winners, right?
Nope.
We did trash one strain yesterday. It was getting mosaic virus on all the plants, so apparently it doesn't like the lighting here. So we're gonna trash that one and move on. But I will. I'll tell the breeder privately on that one. But yeah, there was one strain out of all the ones that we've got our hands on so far that was, genetics were not good for this environment at all, or they had something dormant in it that was just raging when we popped it through. But that's also why we're super strict on like all the scissors get bleached every time they change plants. And we're very, very big on biosecurity and not using the same tools on the same plants or anything like that. You have to be, especially doing pheno hunts where you don't know what the genetics are yet, and what's dangerous.
It's funny that the ones that did the worst here for me or didn't like this growing here. I noticed where a lot of the hybrids I took a seed male and knocked it onto like stuff I got from the clubs in Santa Rosa that were great stuff. But I think maybe they were the memory of that plant was never like really outside. That's how I had a feeling, because those plants didn't do as good as the ones like I were my fresh outdoor seeds that I had made that I popped here didn't like it me either, but they didn't like die. Like the other ones is fucking dead. They just melted. And that's where I noticed that the 4 strains that I had all were like stuff I hybrid out off clones I got from like buddies or just like that. They're running indoor.
I wanted to also throw, guys, I thought we'd do a video today talking about mosaic virus. So this is mosaic virus. As you can see, it's blotchy, it's streaky. It causes that leaf deformation. You can see the streaking. You can see it's streaky, blotchy.
I've seen that so much here, man. Dude, that's wild.
You can see that plain as day. It's starting on this leaf. And as you can see, it's screwed up the whole plant. As we zoom out, this plant compared to its sisters is very, way behind schedule. And nowhere near as vigorous. Okay. Now we'll contrast that with an actually an actually variegated plant. So we're gonna go down here through the forest of trees to our plant over here, which has actual variegation. So as you can see, this is true variegation. And you can see here the leaves are split nice and even. That's natural variegation. This is what variegation looks like. And you guys can see in the early part of the video, it's not streaky, it's not blotchy, it's even. That's how you can tell mosaic virus, like the first one, versus actual variegation like the second one. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe. Anyways, I wanted to share that with you guys because I've never had both in the same location at the same time. I've always had one or the other because through variegation and fermentation, I've only seen it maybe 3 or 4 times in person. So to have them both here at the same time was really cool, to put them both in the same video and kind of show that compare and contrast, hardcore between the two. I think hopefully that helps dispel a lot of it, because a lot of people have mosaic virus and swear that it's variegation, and then they end up ruining their crop. And it's one of the most debated things on Instagram, that's for sure. But hopefully that quick guide helps you guys. It's always fun to do those kinds of things when you have access to some weird plants and try to turn it into some content. So, what's new with you, recreational rosin? Anything else new with you?
Oh, just recovered from COVID and killing 200 plants. But,
Did you give them COVID?
They're. Who knows what the hell happened to them? I used some Chinese peat moss plugs, and everything that was in those, of course, died. That's what you get for not charging stuff right, and then not being well enough to make sure things are on target. But nothing new and exciting except a couple more lights arriving today, so I can get things vegging a little bit better out here. I wish I had a setup like you've got over there, Potent. That's beautiful. I love your greenhouse, man. I'm just doing the one-man army over here, so nothing too fancy. But it's one question I did want to ask Chris, because we've talked a lot about IMO, and I just haven't taken the time to throw some rice out there. And I love your idea with the baskets instead of building a box, because those 20 baht baskets are available everywhere at every 20 baht shop around here. So it's easier to take some IMO ever than before. But I've always just used compost teas in my sprays and my foliar feedings and things like that. And I'll add whatever I want to feed my plants into the compost tea so that it gets So that the microbes are in there able to break things down, whether it's the fish or the bat guanos and other guanos that I can throw in there. I like to throw them, bubble them out for about 24 hours, even just random bits of soil. Like I bought a bag of silica, and it's just these silica pellets, and I let the microbes that are in the leftover tea gnaw on that stuff a little bit. And of course, it starts raising the pH like crazy. So, I've been using that. I haven't taken the time to cultivate an actual IMO though. And, but I've experienced some of the same things he was talking about, where I don't see the same diseases because they just don't happen on the plants that I foliar feed this way. And I wasn't sure if it's just like beginner's luck that translated into a habit, or if it's really, kind of the same biological concepts that are happening, whether it be a carefully cultivated IMO and, collected in the, in the nestles of a bamboo thicket versus some backyard compost and worm castings. It's close enough if that's why it's working. But that's the next step for me, is I do want to cultivate an IMO box and understand better the differences between IMO 1 and IMO 2. I understand too, I like the concept of deactivating the microbes and making a shelf stable product for sure, because it's a pain in the neck to go out into the woods and collect IMO all the time. But in lieu of that, I wasn't sure if I was just lucking out with compost, because it's similar enough, in that regards. You're boosting the microbe population, maybe not a specific microbe population, but definitely decomposers, obviously, since they're coming out of the compost pile. And with a fungally dominated compost, I should hopefully see, more fungus growing, since that's kind of what we're looking for. We're trying to boost our flowers. But when you're trying to control populations, maybe a bacteria makes a lot more sense. If you want to cover the leaves to prevent the issues like with septoria. It's funny, I'm walking around the house, and on every single leaf that's on the ground right now, there is a giant hole in it. There's like several holes in all of the leaves, and they're these tiny little tiny little holes that have been burned into the leaf, like with like a magnifying glass, but it's obviously that fungus. And so I have yet to actually put plants out in the sun and the rain this season. So definitely banking on some compost teas, but also we'll add the IMO to the mix, because it's pretty serious. I see it on every plant in the garden, because they're not getting sprayed compost teas, like the shrubberies and stuff like that. They're really not struggling with it, but it's definitely prevalent. I wonder if controlling that in our area where we have our plants will also help reduce the spread of it when it comes to getting our plants. That's probably another layer of spraying to add to the regimen, hitting all the trees in the area.
That's what we do with the IPMO and the IMO. We carpet bomb everything in the greenhouse and everything around the greenhouse, because it's not going to hurt anything, but it will kill the bad stuff. And
Right.
having those populations of microbes around is going to help eliminate those negative things. I know same thing in Oklahoma, we were growing on a couple acres of stuff out there. We carpet bombed the trees, and, we took the big tractor sprayer and just sprayed it like crazy everywhere, just to kind of keep those bad microbes, mainly Septoria in Oklahoma as well, at bay. But the biggest difference is compost tea is much more like bacteria dominant, right? So whereas the IMO is fungal dominant. So that's the biggest difference. So you're kind of getting different populations. You can use them together, but you'd want to kind of alternate, not combine them during application at least. But IMO, I can't imagine not doing a farm on any kind of commercial scale without IMO. Like it helps with too many problems. It just
Yeah.
makes the plants vigorous. Like I don't have a bunch of random fucking problems with the plants other than the, maybe from genetics, but other
I'll
than
tell you,
that, we
the
don't have
first
any
couple
mold.
times.
We haven't had a single mold outbreak or mold issue in the greenhouse and everything else. So it's like, in a place that, when we're in the middle of a rice field, to not have mold problems is, pretty great.
The first couple times that I tried collecting IMO, I had some trying times, actually. I'll be honest with you. I went too close to an anthill, and the ants just found their way over and emptied me a couple times. I also had I had a bunch of ones that just bloomed badly, just like reds and yellows and just a bunch of bad colors. So what I did with those is I collected those and I took out all that color stuff and tried to use just the white blooms that I had in the time being while I made other ones and got better collections. And since then I've had better collections and less things. But one thing with the IPMO, that is when the ants will like come for miles. Like IPMO, There's nothing that attracts them like IPMO. They're just rice full of starch and like goodness. They're just like, oh yeah, give me that. And I've never seen them clear anything out so quick. I'm talking like 3-4 pounds of rice just gone in like 2 days. Like,
yeah, it's fucking nuts. That is the one thing we did. I picked up one box and it was filled with red ants. And that was fun. So you definitely have to watch out for it. And you can tell when they've been in there because you can see where they've like dug everything out and all that. So, and that's not a problem. Hey, the idea is you put out 10 or 20 samples.
exactly.
If you get 2 or 3 good ones, that's great, right? Like, especially when you're learning in the beginning, no big deal. Now we'll get here most of the time we'll put out 10 or 20 and we'll get maybe 3 or 4 fails out of that whole batch. But the one time when we put the boxes out right when the rice fields, like the week the rice fields dried out completely, they were like, I think we had 1 or 2 good ones and all the rest were trichoderma, but it was blooming because all of the fields had just dried out, right? So sometimes too, paying attention to the environment, you might have a week that's just going to be a bad week to collect and that's fine, right? Like it's not a big deal. Just try again next week,
The aquatic IMOs are something I've been wanting to work on, and I've just been too lazy, to be honest with you. But I've been wanting to put them into what muskeg is like. I've wanted to put them in moving muskeg and do collections in there where it's flowing muskeg through it, and some bogs and swamps and stuff like that, and try some different areas of collection.
Really interesting to see what the microbial populations look like under muskeg because, is it fungal? Is it bacterial? I would imagine it's probably bacterial dominant, but who knows?
Yeah, I think it's bacterial dominant, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it's a lot. I think it's a lot of both. I mean, I've collected near them and stuff, but yeah, it's definitely something I work on them every day. So I'm like played with the thought of like doing collections there. I have done JMSs where you take the cup of soil, and I've taken it from deep down in muskeg and brought it back, and then you boil potatoes, and you put the potatoes in there, and then you bubble that, and that turns into your Jadam micro solution, and I've had really good success with that stuff. And it especially works best with what seems to be dirt from the wetter areas, the lower areas. But yeah, I've had good success with that. You'll see, usually after I inoculate with that, you'll see a bloom of mushrooms or whatever on top of the soil, which is pretty cool.
That's another thing with the IMO applications. You get just a slew of different mushrooms in the garden. It's one of my favorite things to do in the morning is see kind of what popped up last night,
Yeah, man.
But I also look forward to doing some collections in the wet season because I figure we're going to get much different microbes too. So right now it's been, the very end of the wet season, beginning of the dry season since I've been out here. So we'll have completely different microbial communities in the forest in a couple months.
Yeah. And I've been meaning to try winter collections as well. And the reason being, I've always known that it's been a good time to collect because like that layer right at the bottom is always melting the snow, and it's all actually a few degrees above zero all the time. And well, within the forest, out in the open, it freezes. But I've like that would, and then there's no insect pressure for me to worry about at that time. So it'd be interesting to see how a collection would come up over winter. Probably just leave it the whole winter and then pick it up in the spring or something as it's melting out.
Sure.
So I have
Yeah.
this area where we toss all of our leftover veggie scraps. And speaking of ants, like colonies of different colors will come and just form a crust over the food when we toss it out there. And, you know, whether it's leftover rice, leftover tomatoes, and just whatever the hell, it's just been crusted over by these ants, like little mini ant city has, you know, formed over it. And you throw something out there and they just, you know, throw something on top of that. Like, I wonder what that collection would do. You know, because the ants have a serious bacteria in their stomach, and they're certainly pooping that out. You know, like,
Oh,
what the
yeah.
hell is in there? Now that I'm looking at this thing, we're talking about all of these inoculations. I wonder, it's got to be some kind of nitrogen, nitrifying bacteria in their stomach, like in the stomach of termites, because whatever food scraps and stuff that the ants are, the reason why it stinks is because it's got lots of nitrogen in it. And so, something to think about. I might have to scoop that stuff into a bucket, and what do? Top it off with sugar and then
Yeah, if
add
you're gonna
water?
stabilize it, yeah, you'd top it, you'd cut it 50% with sugar, mix it together if you're trying to just stabilize it for long-term shelf use. But yeah,
And
ideally maybe try to culture it on some medium like rice or something to like bulk it out a little
there you
before
go.
you be a better way.
There you go. Throw a bucket of rice in the bottom, and then scoop the ant crap on there and top it off.
Yeah,
We'll play
or
around with
mix
that.
it, throw the
And then
rice
mix
on,
in the sugar.
mix it up and wait till they're fully colonizing it, and then just take it up and mix it together, even with the ants in it.
Right. Yeah, interesting. Okay, I'll have to play around with that. You know, waste not, want not.
Right. I'm definitely excited to try this liquid culture method to see if we can't make an IPMO a little easier. I think for a lot of people, you know, doing something they could throw in water is a little easier than putting something in the forest. And as we talked about earlier, IMO boxes here is a hardcore sport that has very much the risk of death here, whereas in the United States, that's not the same case. So when you have to dodge cobras and vipers, you know, you try not to go into the untrailed forest quite as often as you do in the States.
Fair
No,
enough.
it's
Fair
true,
enough.
man. The farmers, you see them out there in their big, tall boots, and it's not just because it's muddy. It's because they don't want to die if they get bit by
Yeah,
a
because it's
snake.
mad stylish, bro.
There are those broad-rimmed hats, man. I actually love that crap. I'm as white as they come, ginger freaking day walker. And boy, big hats are a big deal out in this equatorial sun, I'll tell you what.
Oh, I want to get like a Mexican sombrero with like the Mexican
Yeah.
flag on it, something totally ridiculous. We were talking about that the other day. I thought it'd be hilarious.
The lady had one so big the other day in the field, I thought it was a prank. It was huge.
No, she just knows what's up.
Exactly. No sun's touching her, anything.
Well, you definitely can't, especially between like 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. You can't be outside, like not in the full sun and get anything done without just dying. Right?
No,
So,
exactly.
but the siesta schedule is definitely, I guess I prefer it significantly to the regular schedule. You know, work until it's
same.
hot, eat lunch, take a nap, wake up, hit 4:30, start prepping. 5 o'clock, start actually doing stuff in the
That's
greenhouse.
why I grew pot. It just coincides with the siesta schedule so perfectly.
Right.
It's a perfect
Plus, all the veg
lifestyle,
stuff, we just
exactly.
flip the lights on and work at night for cloning and all, and because you can't, that's another thing, you can't really clone in full sun, but by the time you finish the tray, the first half is just fried, right? So you
Right.
gotta, you
Gotta be
have to
done by
basically
11.
clone at night.
Or at night best. Exactly. Beautiful.
Such is life in the tropics.
Yep. So
Beats the
difficult.
shit out of the snow.
Sure
Yeah,
does.
man. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's bad right now. It's all bad.
In Willits, I lived in the shadow of a mountain for like 9 months out of the year. I was freezing. My little house just got the shade all year, and then there was a creek next to it, and so it'd get this cool air on top of it. Oh my gosh, you could throw a bag of 100 pounds down there and it'd be like in perfect shape 6 months later. It was like better than throwing it in the freezer. You just bury it in a little bit of dirt and leaves, presto, you've got OG and sour diesel in March when the prices started to return.
I did notice the US prices have stabilized a little bit.
Yeah,
I
it
guess a
happens
lot,
when you hire an army of cops to freaking crush everything.
well, that, and I think a lot of people are just, there's fewer growers now, right now.
Yep.
And but one of the other things I think you're going to see, I think CBD flower is going to spike again, because the country went from having like 40 or 50,000 registered hemp licenses to like 12, like 1,800. So there's not that many people growing smokable CBD flower. So even though the demand isn't quite as high, there's nobody making it. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable considering how much was sitting on the shelves forever. But I'm sure things will, all markets stabilize eventually, right? Smokable hemp's definitely a thing. We were just talking about that the other day. When I came to Thailand, you still couldn't smoke weed everywhere, but the crew I was hanging out with all smoked cigarettes, and I almost started smoking cigarettes again because there was just so much tobacco smoke everywhere. I would have been so grateful for a hemp cigarette, but now, although it's not bad to keep a few brain cells during the day, wouldn't mind smoking like CBD heavy weed if it tasted good. But I haven't smoked lots. I've taken delicious CBD dabs, but I haven't sampled CBD flower. And granted, I haven't sampled much being in Thailand of smokable hemp. That's like awesome. I'm sure it's out there. I just never had the pleasure.
I wanted to also say that some stuff changed yesterday for the positive here in Thailand, on the weed news here in the kingdom. Where is it? They're going to have, and this is not going to be like a metric track and trace, but you're going to have to report to the state starting next year sometime how much inventory you have, the source of the inventory, and keep track of who you're doing transactions with for the government. So you're going to have like a point of sale track and trace for the retailers, which is going to be different. They're also going to require ID, so you're going to have to show your ID and prove you're 20 years old, which is fine. I don't think anyone has a problem showing ID to not keep kids out of it. I think that's a good thing.
But there's going to be a machine that they're using to record everyone who buys it. And I've heard that they may have it so like tourists and stuff can't buy it because they don't have Thai ID.
I haven't heard that. I mean, they'd be completely stupid to cut off the tourism market, because that's what's keeping the market alive right now.
Well, you have to remember, technically, it's all supposed to be a medical market, and the tourism is basically a rec market. And right now, you don't want to have a rec market, according to the government. So
There's a bunch of sick.
anything
There's
the
a bunch of
government
sick
says
tourists
is a
coming for
lie.
treatment. Like,
Know that.
The FDA chief removed the part about it being a narcotic from Section 3 of the hemp bill yesterday, which was huge. So that really changed the legality of it in Thailand in terms of law. That was a Wednesday. They put that off the bill. So that was a huge step in the right direction towards getting to recreational. And one of the other opposition is very strange trying to plug into the politics here on this issue, but where is it? One of the politicians said that they were open to it being recreational in the future as long as it was regulated heavier than it is now. And that was an interesting statement, because you haven't heard any of the government officials saying anything about rec. And for them to make a comment like that yesterday was pretty crazy. Let me find the link to it so I can put the actual quote on here. So I don't want to misspeak. Here it is. Open link. There it is. Okay, so this was the statement put out yesterday or the day before. Again, with the time zones and stuff, I forget what day it is. Opposition Move Forward Party leader Peter, I don't want to butcher his name, said Wednesday at a press conference that the party may support the use of marijuana for recreational purposes, but it must be regulated by the law and not without effective control like at present. Cannabis is not a private matter. It's not about emotions or a matter of a single party. So that was a pretty big statement from one of the official parties of Thailand, in the positive direction. So I think that now that they've had it recreational for 3 months and the sky hasn't fallen here since June, I guess we're at month 7 now. The sky hasn't fallen. There's not a bunch of car accidents. There's not none of the stuff that the naysayers said happened. Right. So
Weird. That didn't happen here in Canada either. It's weird.
Yeah. So strange. Everyone becomes a better driver when
we all didn't have it before or something. Like probably better weed too, but
well, you know what it is? People just smoke instead of drinking. So there's less DUIs,
That's true. That is true.
And if you get too high, you can't operate a vehicle. You're not going to try because your motor skills aren't there, right? And
exactly.
Whereas with alcohol, you can totally think that you can drive. You know what I mean? It's just not the same intoxication. It's completely different. So
yeah.
You'll just pass out in your car and wake up a couple hours later and not really know what happened. It's like, you're not going to even try to drive. So, anyways, good things at least on the law side. But I think we'll wrap up the show. How do people find you there, Recreational Rosin Dave?
They can find me on Instagram at Recreational Rosin, and I'll eventually get more active on there. But we really need I'm surprised you do so well with your Instagram and other presences just because of the bannings and censorship and bull crap like that. But for now, yeah, at Recreational Rosin, you guys can find me if you want to chit chat.
I've been thinking about doing a series. Wes and I were talking about this the other day, a series on like how to do what we do and how to not get taken down and not deal with all the stupid shit that happens to channels sometimes, because a lot of it is just what content you have on the channel. Like I've almost lost this channel because we made the mistake of getting for the one event, we had some seed sponsors and some other stuff, and YouTube insta flagged all that shit. I almost lost the channel. So you got to be really careful with seed stuff or direct sites that have like flower for sale. You link to any of that in the descriptions. Eventually the YouTube spiders will find it and whack your shit. It's happened to me a couple times.
The blocks will get you.
Yeah, so that's definitely an issue. And then with Instagram, I have no fucking idea. Is my frankly honest idea. I don't sell anything on there other than my classes, and I don't do seeds or anything like that. Most of the stuff I've seen people have issues with on Instagram is revolved around breeders or seed producers or seed resellers. I haven't seen that many people that aren't doing those types of things or advertising stuff for sale get harassed. I know it happens, but they don't seem to get harassed as often. But I've only had maybe 2 posts taken down by Instagram, and they were both COVID related when we covered the COVID episode. So that's all I've ever had taken down from Instagram and warned about.
Oh, gotcha. That's good. That's not too harsh then.
But they went completely insane with all the COVID vax stuff. You guys can check out. We had a really good episode about the relationship between some of the mRNA stuff and side effects, as well as how it relates to cannabis users. And we had multiple people on, as well as Kevin McKernan, who was seeing some of the data as well and some of his research and all that other stuff. And he helped develop some of the COVID testing for vegetables and fruit and all this other kind of stuff. So guy knows what he's talking about. It's not some random, guy from Fox News. It's someone that actually has a medical degree and has mapped out the genomic sequencing of the hoplite virus and a bunch of other things. Like the guy is incredibly talented when it comes to the science. So it was a good episode. And then we also had Aaron Newkirk, a guy I used to work with in Oklahoma who was severely injured by the jab. and can't even smoke cannabis anymore as a result of it, and the interactions he has when he smokes. So he has a tachycardia really hard. So, it's not, the issue just was never addressed by the public. And hopefully here now, as evil as the bastard is down in Florida, at least he's taken him to court over it.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yep.
What about you, Infamous? How do people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at infamous gardens _V 2.0. There's a Linktree link in there where it has all my stuff. My Linktree is Linktree/infamous gardens. There's all the stuff there. YouTube, Facebook, all the things. Social Club, Infamous Gardens. Don't get duped by imposters. There's only the one and only, so check it out. Yeah. And how do people find you there, Wes?
All things a Wes Engine, Instagram, Twitter, everything basically. You can find me as Wes Engine, and obviously over on Dat Smoke Show, the premier show on Cannabis show, most up and coming rising show, greatest show on the thing. Anyways, and where can people find you, Potent?
They can find me on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, all the things. Same with Dat Smoke Show. And they can also check out the class. We'll have another little quick sale here for Christmas. If you haven't picked up one of the classes, we're going to put the class back on sale on the 20th. So look for flyers on that. But we've had quite a few people snapping up the class for Christmas. So we have the Aquaponic Cannabis class. We have a Living Soil and Aquaponics Pest Control course. And we have, which I have a bunch more, it's already a full day of content, but I have a bunch of stuff filmed that I'm going to edit to throw on there. That'll be added to both of those courses about pest control, updated from out here. Also we have the mineral and microbe class coming out next year as well, which I've been in the process of editing right now. So yeah, well, if you are looking for aquaponic information, it's certainly a wide list of classes that you can find in the description here. And what about you, Kanatai? How do people find you?
I'm right here with you guys, and you can catch me at Instagram, Kanatai Seeds, and YouTube. I'm trying to get that fired up also, Kanatai Seeds.
Awesome.
All right, guys, I had to bounce out for a minute.
Thanks, everybody. We'll have another Thai grower, I think, next week. Working on a couple of different people to come on, and then we actually have a pretty cool person lined up for January. We'll be having Pigeon 420 on the show, which is one of the biggest YouTubers when it comes to cannabis. So really excited to have him on. I was talking to him the other day. He actually used some of our content from my Instagram for his story on Cowboy Cup. So it was super cool to jam with him on that. And yeah, really excited to have him on. So. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll be back again next week with Dat Smoke Show on the other channel, Dat Smoke Show.